Hey, how you doing, girl? Today is the 6th of June, 2019. I hope you're doing good today. I hope you're enjoying your day. Guess what? I have a feeling that you are going to be enjoying your day. And the reason is because today is your last day of school. Yay! Celebrate! I know. What an amazing day today will be. Today is really like the capstone day of your freshman year in high school. Wow, at Cabrillo High School. What a wonderful time to be alive. I have a feeling that today's going to be an easy day. You may be just turning in your books. You may just be, organizing your desk and cleaning it out and saying goodbye to all your teachers and all the students. And you might even be signing the yearbooks of, a few students, maybe the upperclassmen, as they say goodbye. Pretty exciting. You made it through your freshman year of high school. What an amazing thing that is. That is such a huge accomplishment. And, I have a feeling that you did great. You really showed up. You did your best in your classes. You did your best in your math and science classes and your English classes. And you did, you gave your best effort at track and field. And, you worked hard to train 3 times a week. And now you get, the benefit of having, summer off, all summer off, I don't know what it is in California. It's like, 2.5 months. So that's phenomenal. What a wonderful thing. And your mom probably has some kind of international trip scheduled for you, in part to celebrate the summertime. So there's probably a lot to look forward to, a lot that you've accomplished during this semester in your freshman year of high school. How wonderful that must feel. And man, I'm feeling that too. I'm so glad for you. I'm also happy that summer is basically pretty much here. Now, it's not warm enough, in my opinion. Today, the high is going to be only 66 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty substantial for probably most places on the planet. But I'm not happy until it's 70 degrees. My happiness depends on the weather, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. 66 degrees. Hopefully it's a warm 66. I look outside the window and it looks like it might be a little gray out there. Anyway, I'm going to be happy in here, right in my heart. I'm going to be wishing for summertime to come. So I've been thinking about what the summer's going to be like, and I've mentioned it a few times. I'm pretty excited about playing in the water. Last weekend, I had the pleasure of going to Franklin Hot Springs and hanging out in the hot tubs there and in the warm pool that they have. And I think I want to do more of the same, spending a lot of time in the water. I want to go to Six Flags Magic Mountain. They've got Hurricane Harbor there, which is a water park which will be open this weekend. And I'm very seriously contemplating going tomorrow or the next day, Saturday. Very seriously, or Sunday. I haven't quite come up with a date yet, but I might very well do something like that. We'll see what I got planned for this weekend. There's another thing that I might do this weekend, and that's just hang out in Santa Barbara preparing for the solstice parade. I got to put together some kind of Egyptian costume for the solstice parade. I'm just not sure yet what I'm going to do, and time is ticking. It's really ticking. So who knows? I might just spend all weekend throwing together a costume for solstice. You know what? If I could do that, that would be a week. You know what? Maybe that's exactly what I'll do. Maybe I'll just spend all weekend long coming up with an Egyptian costume, pulling it together. That actually might be worthwhile because this Egyptian costume thing has been on my mind a lot, and I would sure like to get the question resolved about what I'm wearing, and yeah, so maybe that's what I'll do this weekend. I also want to get some sandals, and now that I think about it, sandals and an Egyptian costume probably go together. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll go get some sandals. I want to get some Teva sandals, and maybe what I can do is hunt those sandals down and try to come up with some kind of Egyptian costume. I guess it's going to be warmer later on in the year, later on in the following months, and so maybe that's when I want to go to the water parks. We'll see. Maybe I'll just go to Franklin Hot Springs this weekend again, 2 weekends in a row, and just hang out in the hot tubs over there instead of going to Hurricane Harbor. See, choices. Do I go? The question is, do I go to a water park or do I go hot tubbing? Water park or hot tubbing? These are the problems. These are first world problems. I know. I'm so privileged to have these problems. Thank you. I'm so glad that I have these problems. There are people who have worse problems, by the way. Oh, yeah. And I have the benefit of having the easiest problems to solve ever. Well, maybe they're not the easiest problems to solve, but they're problems where the consequences are not dire, right? Yeah. I like to have these good choices where the outcomes are positive, So what also is pretty cool for me is I have a 3-day weekend this weekend. Wow, which is awesome. And that means I've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And, I was thinking that maybe I'd text you maybe today or tomorrow. And, if you were up to doing something like going to get a pizza or something, I'd be totally up for it, man. Or maybe some tacos. I'm a big fan of tacos. Yeah. I like these papas and tacos. Or I don't know. I like this tacos made with a potato filling. Oh, yeah. That sounds like it hits the spot for me. Of course, potatoes are pretty much good at anything. And I can imagine having sweet potato tacos. Now you're talking. But yeah, we could go out and get something like that. That might be a lot of fun. Yeah. So let's see what else is going on. So yeah, I've got this 3-day weekend coming up. I need to figure out how to spend it. Oh, I also need to get an oil change. Here's the thing about life. Life is filled with all kinds of, how should I say, logistical problems, right? I want to do laundry. I want to do the dishes. I want to get my car oil changed. It's just what life's all about, man. Let me tell you, last night I was dreaming about autonomous vehicles and the future. And I so want autonomous vehicles to show up yesterday. I went to the Waymo website. Waymo is a company that I think is owned by Alphabet, which is the Google company, the Google parent company. And they are the autonomous vehicles division. And I'm really looking for those autonomous vehicles to show up. Now, I hear that Waymo is going to start operations of their autonomous vehicle service soon in places like, what is it, Phoenix, Arizona, something like that. And I think it might actually be going on right now. And I'm so pleased to see that. And I'm really hoping that very, very soon it'll be on, so rolling out, not just in all of Arizona, but also all of Southern California. Thankfully, I'm in a pretty good place. I mean, I think that Southern California and Arizona could be some of the first places to have autonomous vehicles roll out, mainly because our weather's so predictable out here. I mean, really, like it never snows here. It only rains. And, that would mean that it'd be easier for the sensors and AI to make sense of our roads as the weather changes. So I think it's a relatively easy problem to solve. And so I'm excited about that happening. I got to learn about some of the technology that the autonomous vehicles are using. And it's pretty mind-blowing stuff. They use sensors like cameras and like, I think, ultrasonic like detectors that detect distance. And they also use lasers. LiDAR, I think, is the kind of laser that they use. And they've got these solid state LiDAR devices, which have no moving parts. Serious. I think usually there are some like rotating mirrors and rotating, I think a lot of rotating mirrors with LiDAR. And to have these solid state LiDAR sensors without any moving parts, to me, is just amazing. I mean, how is it possible? I'm still befuddled when I consider that's how behind the technology my brain is. I'm asking myself, how is it possible to shift the direction of a laser beam without any moving parts? I know. There are things I don't know, Em. There are things I just do not know. The fact is, the universe, the world is filled with lots of things that I just do not know about. And the solid state LiDAR stuff is just mind-boggling. And so pleased that the technology is being developed and utilized on autonomous vehicles. Definitely looking forward to the advances in the future, because I want to stop driving. I love the freedom that driving brings, right? Traveling from point A to point B, going places. Love that. I love that. But the risks are so high. Traffic, people aren't paying attention because they're using their cell phones. It's just, and there's the risk of to life and limb are so high on the roads today. Everybody's got their 1-ton SUV and 1-ton truck, and we're all powering down the highway at speeds like 65 miles an hour. We're just like rocketing down the road. And all it takes is just a nudge of the steering wheel, a half inch in one direction for 3 seconds. And that's it, man. You're a goner. And it's a really high risk. So I'm really hoping for autonomous vehicles to take over the field and to lower the risks associated with traveling point A to point B. I cannot believe that I'm still alive. And despite all the hundreds of thousands of miles that I've driven on the roads, I'm still here. I must be one of the luckiest people on the planet. Because there are a lot of people who aren't so lucky. They get in wrecks. A lot of people get in wrecks. I mean, it's not like it's something that doesn't happen. I have friends getting in wrecks, messing up their bodies, their backs, messed up, their hips messed up. You know, these are injuries that just don't heal right. You know, you don't come back 100% after the injury. And there are people who get like, head injuries and things like that. I don't know, man. We really definitely have to put a stop to all this driving in cars. Driving in cars, human operated car driving definitely has to go away. I think I heard a statistic it said like, I don't know, something like, just a huge number of accidents per day. Hey, Google, how many car accidents per day?
On the website assert.org, they say, nearly 1.25 million people die in road crashes each year, on average 3,287 deaths a day. An additional 20 to 50 million are injured or disabled.
3,287 deaths a day. 3,000 deaths a day. Dope. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that number is really high. 3,000 deaths a day. The human toll. It's like a war zone out there in the United States on the roads. 3,000 deaths a day. The untold anguish that must exist out there. The emotional pain from losing a family member in death because of a car accident. I mean, it's just 3,000 per day. Wow. So, hey, Google, what is 3,000 divided by 50?
The answer is 60.
All right. So that's 60 people every day in each of the 50 states. 60 people in California per day just dying. Just imagine that subtraction. I know it probably doesn't seem like a lot of people, but still, those people have fathers and mothers. They have aunts and uncles. They have sons and daughters. They have wives and husbands. So tragic. So anyway, that's why I have a very strong desire for autonomous vehicles to come to the fore and start overtaking human driving. 60 people a day. Golly. Just from driving. Anyway, now I'm beginning to feel a little sad about all the people who are losing their lives in the streets. It's kind of interesting how our society has just learned to accept it. The thoughts that are going through my mind are, none of these people deserve to be killed or injured on the roads when they're driving. A lot of the injuries and deaths that take place on the freeways are because of accidents, mistakes, indecisiveness, inattention. It's not intentional. These are purely accidental deaths. I would say the vast majority. No one steps in a car. Very few people step in a car thing, hoping or thinking that they'll intentionally die. Most everyone just is crossing their fingers, hoping that they'll stay alive to the end. They'll stay alive during their trip. And it's just so sad. Man, I'm so grateful to be alive. Let me tell you, every birthday a person has is a real accomplishment. It is a serious accomplishment. It's also a huge stroke of luck. I think that, it's kind of funny. I praise myself for staying alive, but there are a lot of factors that are not in my control that has determined me continuing to be alive, despite all the driving that I do. A lot of things like inattention on the road, these happen. Um, these kind of behaviors are just really random. All it takes is a renegade thought to take your attention away from your driving and from anyone out on the roads. And, just that random thought, which divides your attention from the road, could be the ultimate cause of a person's death in an accident. And it's just huge. I'm just struck by the statistics of it all. How it's, I don't know, there's probably some skill. So, what percentage of skill and me continuing to be alive in terms of my driving habits and driving reflexes, what percentage is it skill and what percentage is it risk? I don't know. It's probably 50-50. Actually, it might even be just 20-80, like 20% skill, 80% random chance that I've continued to be alive. I don't know, man. Anyway, I am looking for autonomous vehicles to show up on the scene. Yeah. The more I contemplate human life, the more I recognize just how valuable it is, just how fleeting it is. It's really, really amazing. Every moment that we're alive, every heartbeat, every breath, every movement, every thought and subsequent thought, every sensation that I feel is just really a privilege and an honor to have. There's really no sense. One often takes for granted these simple things. That is a breath or a movement or sensation. But it's not something to be taken for granted. It is a distinct and unique and magnificent fact that you're alive every moment. I know about people who are enduring the ravages of stage 4 colon cancer. I know friends who are enduring the ravages of breast cancer and problems with diabetes and you name it, dementia. Every moment you're alive is an amazing thing. I can imagine even people who are in hospice, who are just waiting to die. Each one of those moments is something to be valued and cherished and honored. And every breath, no matter how shallow, is definitely something to give yourself credit for, to celebrate. Yeah. And I'm so lucky that I have it so well. In a way, I kind of make fun of it too. Sometimes I think about like, oh, look at my hair, looks amazing today. I actually am saying that statement in jest somewhat because of how trivial it is. And I think it is kind of funny. And, it is a kind of a celebration of the fact of my aliveness and just how good I have it. I don't live in a mansion or anything like that. I don't need to live in a mansion. But really, all you need is your health. There's this phrase that people say, health is wealth. And I think that is really true. Even if I had $1 billion, if I was like on the verge of death and dying, it wouldn't matter. wouldn't matter how much money I had, truly. And the same goes to say, the same could be said for like mental health as well, not just physical health. But if I had like $1 billion and I had, say, something like bipolar disorder or something, that could be rough, and that could possibly negate the fact that I had $1 billion. Oh yeah, I just would be unhappy. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'd rather be poor and happy all the time than miserable and be a billionaire. That's for sure. It's funny. It's actually nice that life is like that, because really what that means is that for some, and for a lot of people, particularly when it comes to mental health and physical health, particularly when it comes to mental health, a lot of that is choiceful. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that there aren't conditioned problems, and there's also problems of ignorance related to mental health. Sometimes, being happy and emotionally healthy is a skill. And yeah, it's definitely a skill. And I think it's a skill that one can develop over time. And anyway, I'm glad that that's the case, at least to some extent. So, what is going on with me? So you might have noticed, you might remember how I've spoken in the past about me reading the Harry Potter series, or at least listening to the audiobooks of the Harry Potter series. I just finished Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And that is the second to last book in the Harry Potter series. And I went to Amazon the other day and I bought the Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And I'm starting to watch the movie now. I think I'm about a third of the way through the movie. I'm actually really enjoying the movie. I haven't watched it all that much in the last couple of days. This weekend, though, I hope to finish that movie. Absolutely finish the Harry Potter movie. It's kind of funny. When I was a kid, I thought nothing of like starting movie and ending movie 2 hours later, having watched the whole thing. But these days, it's kind of funny. I am so distracted or distractible that I'll watch 10% of a movie and then move on to something else, and then watch the next 10% of the movie and move on to something else. I'm not sure why I'm not sitting and watching the movie straight through from the beginning to the end. 2 hours is a lot of time to devote to anything. And when I'm at home and something comes into my mind about needing to do the dishes or needing to do laundry or wanting to clean up, basically I prioritize all those activities over watching the movie. So what that means is that it takes me a long time to watch movies. It takes me like a week to watch my movie. That's probably not ideal. Anyway, I'm actually quite proud of the fact that I've gone through the Half-Blood Prince audiobook, and I'm excited about watching that movie and getting that done. And it occurs to me that I need to start thinking about finding the audiobook, the last audiobook in the series, the Harry Potter series, and tracking that down so I can listen to that in my car. I don't happen to recall what the book is titled. I think it's in 2 parts. I think there's a volume 1 and volume 2. So I'm definitely going to try to do that. Maybe even this weekend, I'll try to track down that last Harry Potter book and give it a listen in my car. That'd be a good thing. So I'm actually pretty excited about my quilting class, which is going to be starting on Monday. Monday, I think at 6:30, something like that, 6:30 p.m. And that's next Monday. I already have my parking permit for Allen Hancock College, the Lompoc campus, for summer semester 2019. And I've got that parking permit already placed on my windshield in the lower left-hand corner, and I'm gearing up for that sewing class. It's gonna be cool. I'm excited to get back into sewing again. I think sewing is gonna be like this staple for my summers. I think sewing is a really great pastime, particularly during the summer. There's a lot of opportunities to dress up during the summer, or at least, and also during the winter, of course. In fact, you know what? There's always opportunities to dress up all the time. And you know what? Of course, there's that opportunity to walk in the summer solstice parade in Santa Barbara, and I think I'm definitely going to need my sewing skills to put together some kind of costume for that parade. I definitely want to take out the sewing machine and get started on some kind of project. You know, so one thing that I've been doing lately is I've been practicing applying face paint. Now, I'm actually not skilled in it, and in fact, I actually have gone to a lot of like parks and celebrations and festivals where people are doing face painting, and they're doing it right there at like $5 or $10. You can get your face painted, and I think that's a skill that I want to learn. I want to become familiar with. I want to understand what it's about, so I can use that in some of my Halloween costumes and my just maybe some of the dance costumes or parading costumes that will be putting together in the future. So I did track down a face painting marker that I thought was pretty good, and I actually bought a couple markers last week, and I've been experimenting with that and some other face paint that I picked up at a local art store, and I don't know, I'm figuring out what works, what doesn't work. You know, it's not. Here's the thing about face paint. Face paint takes skill. It takes time. You sort of have to get to know what techniques work and which ones don't, depending on the products that you have. And it's just not it's not instantaneous. You know, you don't instantaneously become a makeup artist. These things take time, energy, effort, thoughtfulness, planning, and you know, you got to work out the kinks, really. So I'm excited to be willing and able to do something like that. And what I've been doing is at nighttime, I've been applying some face paint and just doing it in an experimental fashion, seeing what works, seeing what colors go with my skin color, seeing what symbols or markings make sense to me, and you know, figuring out how durable the face paint is, and you know, when to use it, and you know, what are its properties, like how fast does the face paint dry, and when it is applied, how densely does it have to be applied in order to show up, you know? So, you know, all these things, it's all about trial and error, and I'm definitely going through that trial and error period right now. So very pleased about that. You know, what's kind of interesting is I like this idea that, you know, everything that a person wears, like I'm wearing a black shirt today, that is a kind of costume. That's a kind of decoration. And, you know, this focus on fashion. I know, Emily, you've had a very strong focus on fashion ever since you were a young girl. I remember you in particular dressing in ways where you'd have a scarf and you'd have an umbrella and you'd have matching gloves and hat to go with your scarf. And I remember you having special shoes, and you were really focused on your appearance when you were a little girl. And I just found it so cute and so adorable. And that interest in fashion, I think, has been, consistent for years for you. Although I don't know how focused on fashion you are today. It may be that you're not very focused on it. But I've kind of assumed that you continue to have some kind of interest in it because it seemed to be so strong in you when you were a child. I've got lots of videos and photographs of you sort of on display, on parade, decorating yourself. Oh my gosh, you were such a beautiful young girl. Oh, I'm just gushing about how enjoyable it was to raise you from age 0 to age 6 years old. It really was a privilege for me to have you around, and it was such a pleasure. You were such a cute and amazing child. What a privilege. Definitely one of the highest privileges in my life was caring for you as a child. So, yeah. So I've been thinking about fashion lately, and I've also been thinking about ways that I can enhance sort of my fashion choices that I'm making so that they're more consistent with who I am as a person. That involves a lot of, I think, thinking, and also involves a lot of shopping. I need to go to Goodwill more often. That is basically how I keep a cap on costs when I go shopping for clothing. I shop at secondhand stores like Goodwill. I think you can get some amazing pieces. Lately, believe it or not, I've actually been interested in joggers. And, that's one thing that I haven't done yet at Goodwill, and that is look for jogger pants. And, that's definitely something I could probably entertain next time I head out to the Goodwill. Look around. I actually typically don't go to the pants section of the Goodwill very often because, I find it actually quite difficult to shop for pants. Goodwill doesn't allow you to, they don't have any, places for you to try clothing on. And so pants in particular are a kind of garment that you almost pretty much need to try on every time. No matter what the label says about measurement, like 32 inches by 30 inches, whatever, you pretty much always have to try it on because, there are a lot of variables, like how much leg room you have in the thigh and in the lower leg, and really what the length is when you take into consideration how high the waist is. There are a lot of things about pants that just you need to try out first. And and because it's not easy to try out pants in the Goodwill, I basically just don't shop for pants at Goodwill. I just shop for shirts. I could throw on a shirt, even over another shirt, and get a sense of how big or how blousy the shirt is, or how small. But pants are harder to choose. There's a harder choice there. But you know what? I'm thinking that I guess in the case of joggers, I think I'm willing to make an exception, and maybe not, at least in the case of joggers. Joggers are actually not a very form-fitting type garment, and so maybe that means that I don't have to try it on at the Goodwill. One thing I've noticed about joggers as a garment for men is that the measurements for the garments are somewhat imprecise. sometimes like they'll just be like large, medium, and small sizes. It's like, how can you encompass all the different sizes of people into just a large, medium, small domain regime, right? How did they do it? Can you imagine being a garment maker saying, we're only going to make 3 sizes of this pant? It's only going to be small, medium, and large. It happens all the time, man. It's kind of funny too, because we're sort of in a period of time where fit is king. The fit of clothing is king. So, this is actually another reason why it's a good idea for me to have a sewing machine going on in the background, because having a sewing machine allows me to tailor my clothing. It allows me to cuff the pants. It allows me to do the tucks that I need to tuck. It allows me to tailor the clothes and make them fit, the ones that I buy at Goodwill. And it gives me confidence to sort of use scissors and cut away, to cut and sew and cut and sew. I've actually done some cutting and sewing of some clothes that I have that I still continue to wear. And honestly, I could use a lot more practice. I also, I've been thinking about buying a garment at Goodwill and then dressing it up so I could use it as a costume, say during a parade or something like that. That was kind of my idea. And so I had some initial ideas for the Solstice Parade that were connected to that. I was going to take some tinsel, like Christmas time tinsel, and sew that tinsel onto a vest to create some kind of costume for walking in the parade. But so far that hasn't happened. I need to go shopping at Goodwill and pick up some kind of garment that will allow that to happen. Anyway, so I think I've spent enough of your time today. I hope that you really enjoy this last day of school. You've got an amazing summer vacation coming up, and I want to say that I would love to be a part of it in some way. I would love to take you out on a picnic, or maybe we can go see a movie, or maybe we can go roller skating in Santa Maria, or maybe we can pick up some tickets for the local flower festival that's going to be showing up late June. Maybe we can get some tickets and ride some roller coasters, maybe eat some caramel apples or candy apples. Oh yeah. Or how about this? How about we just eat apples? You know me, I've been excited about apples for the last couple of weeks. And in fact, that is something that I'm really excited about coming up later this summer. In the fall, that's when the apples start getting ready to be harvested. And I think I'm going to do a lot of traveling and find some pick apple locations where I can do some picking of fresh apples. I'm going to be totally into that, and maybe find places where I can get some fresh apple cider and maybe have some fresh apple pie. Oh yeah. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I might also even start, I was just talking about caramel apples and chocolate covered apples and candy coated apples. I might start getting into that. Here's the thing about that is definitely a dessert and a treat, and I'm actually a little bit unsure about a candy coated apple and whether that makes sense for me. We'll see how that unfolds anyway. So I hope you have a wonderful day, your last day of school today. And tomorrow is going to be your first day of summer. You got 2 holidays back to back we'll be celebrating. So again, I hope you have a wonderful day today. And I want you to know that I love you. I cherish you. I care what you think. I care what's on your mind. And I know it takes some kind of bravery. It takes some bravery to sort of step up and say, hey, let's do something together, and say yes to going out. And I'm with you here along the way. I'm willing to partner with you, and maybe we can discuss what might work for you and what might work for me. And I don't know. There's so many options available. Maybe we can have like a Netflix video watch party or something like that. Totally into that. And I don't know. I think this is going to be the summer of fun. At least that's what I hope it will be. So I'll talk to you later, and we can talk more about it later. All right. Bye-bye, girl. I love you.